The last thing you want to hear when you need your auto insurance most is a robot with countless irrelevant menu options. Which is why with USAA Auto Insurance, you'll get great service that is easy and reliable, all at the touch of a button. Get a quote today. Restrictions apply.
This episode is brought to you by Heyday. Feeling stressed? Take a moment for yourself with Heyday. Stroll through rows of golden wheat, tend to cute barnyard animals, and discover the joys of a digital farm retreat. You don't have to hop in a car or catch a plane. Escape to the farm at the tap of a finger. With Heyday, you're not just tending to a farm, you're tending to yourself. Heyday. Search Heyday, that's Hay space DAY, in your favorite app store. Heyday is a free-to-play mobile game and offers optional in-app purchases and random rewards.
I am bringing you a topic that I think we need to shout from the rooftops about. I'm going to be talking about the fact that around 5% of women have a water birth. So where does that leave the 95% of women that had that exact same birth preference list? No wonder we have stats like this on birth trauma. Labour is a marathon. Labour's hard work. I know everyone wants to tell you that if we just breathe, it'll be fine. Just relax. I want to be honest with you, okay? And for you to know it can be great, but the idea that we can just do this surface level stuff to create that is honestly just a lie. Hello, I'm Pip, and welcome to the Midwife Pip podcast, the home of expert chats on all things pregnancy, birth, and beyond. This week, I am bringing you a topic that I think we need to shout from the rooftops about. I'm going to be talking about the fact that we should not prepare for birth. Let us be honest, guys, the biggest event of our lives in the last trimester of pregnancy. The third trimester is not the time to be preparing for birth. Controversial, perhaps, but really, really important that we get this message across, because what I see so often is let's get to the 12-week scan, let's get to the 20-week scan. Oh my goodness, we're halfway. But actually, I'm only halfway. I've got loads of time. And then suddenly the third trimester kicks in and people start thinking, all right, let's do some couple of hours course. Let's pack the hospital bag. Everyone spends lots of time packing their hospital bag. But actually, we have just missed 28 weeks. That's a really long time of actually preparing your body in the way that's going to make the difference. This is so important. 28 weeks you have potentially missed of actually building the foundations in your body and in your mind that's going to actually help you create the birth that you want. Packing your hospital bag is going to be completely insignificant in that. Completely insignificant. Learning one breathing technique, insignificant. If we can actually use pregnancy as our training period for our marathon that is birth, we change the game. It's so powerful. The first trimester is your time to set solid foundations. The first trimester is when you can be educated and empowered on your pelvic health before your pelvic floor starts becoming compromised. Even if you're hit with all of the pregnancy symptoms, guys, I empathize. It's really tough. That first trimester is so challenging. It doesn't mean you can't set those solid foundations. And actually, if you have got symptoms like nausea, retching, vomiting, constipation, it's even more important we protect our pelvic floor, learn how to protect our pelvic floor and our abdominal wall in these early periods. If you cannot even get out of bed in that first trimester, you can do this stuff from your bed. Okay, it's not a reason. I promise you it's not a reason. The first trimester is a powerhouse of opportunity. Powerhouse of opportunity. It's when your baby's developing, right? In that first 10, 11 weeks, your baby's developing. Then what they're doing is growing. We have such a massive opportunity. And yet in society, women always say to me, oh, I'm not going to do anything till I get to my 12-week scan. I'm like, oh, well, that's a shame. We've just missed 3 months of improving everything that comes for you and your baby. First trimester, powerhouse opportunity time, okay? If you're listening and you're in your first trimester, oh, that makes sense. I've had a light bulb moment. Please reach out to me. Tell me that you're in your first trimester so we can talk about things you can actually be doing. So important time. So that first 12 weeks is not about survival. It's not about just getting to a scan and ticking a box and then suddenly everything will feel better, because it won't. If you're in that anxious mindset in the first trimester, you're going to replace that 12-week scan anxiety with another anxiety. That might be starting to feel your baby move. It might be the 20-week scan. It might be birth when it comes further down the line. We need to address these things, nip them in the bud early, because it's very easy to suddenly find yourself spending 40 weeks anxious and worried. There is always another anxiety. There's always another worry. We need to get to the root cause and address them. And it's possible. It's really possible to enjoy a pregnancy. Did we actually say that? You can actually really enjoy it, really thrive in it, build your strongest, most resilient version of yourself. But it's not going to happen in the last trimester. Like, that's a really short window of opportunity. So that first trimester, golden opportunity. I love talking to women in their first trimester because we build those solid foundations. Second trimester, usually symptoms start to improve. We can layer up, right? We can layer up. We can start making sure that your body is in the place physically to withstand what we're asking it to go through. Labor is a marathon. Labor's hard work. I know everyone wants to tell you that if we just breathe, it'll be fine. Just relax. Just breathe. Birth will be fine. Light some candles, and everything will be easy. If only, right? Let's be honest. Let's be honest here. If all we needed to do was learn to breathe, maybe do some squats, bit of yoga, bounce on a ball a little bit, and birth was then straightforward, physiological, easy. If we could all just write the same birth plan, hand it over, and it happened, we would not be in a place where 50% of women experience birth trauma. Half of women. The reality is, it takes more preparation than that. It takes so much more preparation than just a few hours that last trimester of pregnancy. Second trimester is our time. It's our time to build on everything we've done in the first trimester. It's the time to strengthen our bodies, to balance our bodies. What we don't want to do, if you have found yourself Googling safe exercise for pregnancy, that's a red flag, okay? I'm going to say that again. If you have found yourself Googling safe exercise for pregnancy, it's a red flag. Not because I don't want you to exercise safely in pregnancy, of course I do, but actually because we don't want to just be exercising safely, right? We could all go for a walk and that's safe. We could all do some bouncing on a ball. Is that safe? Yes, of course it is. But is that specifically going to help us achieve those massive goals? No, absolutely not. We need to be exercising in a way that is specific. There is no time in our lives as women where our goals are as specific as when we're planning to birth a human being. However, we may be planning to do that. When our body is literally relocating organs, our pelvic floor is being stretched, our abdominal wall is being separated. Massive physiological change. No, we cannot just exercise safely for pregnancy and expect a physiological birth and a smooth recovery. Big statement maybe, but I see it. And I'm so fed up of us almost oversimplifying it in a way. But actually, sometimes I just feel like we're not being honest with women. Like, yes, birth is hard work, but there is proactive things that we can do to prepare our body properly, okay? If you think of your baby and your pelvis like a key and a lock. Let's say that the lock is your pelvis, the key is your baby. If those two things aren't aligned, doesn't matter how many times you try and put that key in that lock, the door ain't opening, right? It's not going to happen. Same principles. We need to build our pelvises in a way that our uterus and our baby are in optimal positions. That doesn't happen in the last few weeks. Anyone that's ever done any kind of exercise or had any kind of goals knows that it takes time to create physiological change in our body, and pregnancy is no different. So we need to look at that second trimester as that time to really deep dive, not just surface level preparation. That's not helping anyone. That's why we have these statistics around birth trauma. But actually take a deeper dive, really look at our bodies in an individualized, specific way. And that's our opportunity to start preparing for birth. Okay. Third trimester, icing on the top, cherry on the top of the cake. Okay. You should already be a powerhouse of education by the time you hit your third trimester. I don't want to see birth plans anymore. I dream of a world where I don't see birth plans that say that you want minimal intervention, minimal pain relief. You don't want an instrumental birth. You don't want an emergency cesarean section. You don't want an episiotomy. Everyone wants that. Like, that is the birth that everybody wants. So we have to ask ourselves, why isn't everybody achieving that? Big question. We also have to ask ourselves, and what if that doesn't happen? Around 5% of women have a water birth. So where does that leave the 95% of women that had that exact same birth preference list? No wonder we have stats like this on birth trauma. My brand new book, Midwife Pip's Guide to a Positive Birth, is now available. So much more than a book, this is a guide that allows me to hold your hand through your birth preparation journey. With over a decade of experience and knowledge packed in to ensure you really are empowered in the way you deserve to achieve a positive birth, regardless of the twists and turns that crop up. Make sure that you get your hands on Midwife Pip's Guide to a Positive Birth book now and are empowered to have the birth experience that you deserve. We know that 1 in 3 first-time parents will have assistance with something like ventouse or forceps. Right, so let's plan for that. Let's make a plan to yes, reduce the chance of that, but equally, if that happens, to make sure we know we can make an informed choice so we are not scared of it. If you hit your third trimester and you are anxious or fearful of any aspect of birth that you've heard of, cesarean section, induction of labour, instrumental birth, tearing, if any of those things or others are giving you anxiety and worry and you're in your third trimester, you need to take a moment to pause today and to realise you are not properly prepared for birth. If you don't have a comprehensive understanding of when induction would work for you, what's really unhelpful is if you have like blanket rules around birth of I will not have an induction, I will not have a forceps. What that tells me as a professional, that tells me there's voids in your information. There's voids in information and you're probably making that decision based on fear. Making a decision based on fear is a sign of poor preparation, poor understanding, and lack of robust support to make a decision for you as an individual, okay? I'm not saying there is any right or wrong way to birth your baby. What's important is that you have the reins, you have the control to make properly balanced, informed choices. And that cannot happen in a few weeks before you birth your baby. It takes longer than that. No one's going to run a marathon after doing 10 weeks of training. And that's assuming you're doing it full time, right? Most women are juggling other children, jobs, a house, family commitments, partners or husbands or wives. Like, there's so much else going on in our lives that we can't just say, right, I'm going to spend 3 months solidly now preparing for birth. That's not how life is. We have to be realistic. We need time. Can you achieve a positive birth even if it uses medical intervention, even if it's the things that perhaps to start with you thought might trigger you? Yes, you can. But we need to start this whole process so much earlier. Ideally, to be honest, we start it before we're even pregnant. But best case after that is first trimester. It's never too late, guys. If you are in your third trimester thinking, oh my goodness, I've not done anything yet, it's not too late, but earlier the better. The earlier the better, because we've got that time to build those solid foundations that are going to allow things to fit into place, for things to make sense, for you to have time. You need to have that time. We need to play around with, okay, so what's your induction of labour going to look like if it happens? How are you going to make sure you're the person in the driving seat making those decisions? It's your body, your baby. Okay. So if you say yes, it happens. If you say no, it doesn't. However, it's no good having that phrase in your mind if you don't know the information. We can't make informed decisions, guys, without information. We're just hitting pause for a moment whilst I share something new and exciting with you. Have you ever wondered what's normal and what's not when it comes to your baby's poo? The colour, texture, and frequency of your baby's poo can provide valuable insight into their health and development. It can also help you determine when to seek advice from a healthcare professional. AptaClub's new AI poo tool makes it easy to understand what your baby's poo might indicate. You can even upload a photo, and the tool will analyse it to provide helpful information. You can check it out now at aptaclub.co.uk/baby/baby tools/poo tracker. So important that we can ask those questions, that we can understand the ifs, the buts, the maybes, not just the surface level stuff, but all the variations. Because there is nothing more difficult, more disempowering, more scary for a parent if the first time you hear something is at the point of it being offered to you. So you don't want to ever hear something for the first time in the throes of your labour or birth journey. This needs to have been done way earlier so that you and your partner are empowered with ways to navigate that. So that if there is a hiccup in your birth, you've got this toolbox that you can open up, and you've got these ways and means of navigating that. Some of it physical, some of it through words and communication, some of it psychological. But you've got this intertwined mix ready to go. You know you're capable and you're a powerhouse. What we can't do, and what honestly happens so often, is we focus on this one type of birth that we want. And like I say, everyone's looks the same. And we're only preparing for that, which means that any medical intervention, when we've not really prepared for it, and I'm not just talking about knowing what forceps are, knowing why they might be offered. I'm talking deeper level, really understanding, okay? And then understanding how to support you and your baby's recovery from that. If we don't understand those things and then they're offered to us, that control's gone. We're no longer in control because we don't know what we're doing. We don't know what we're signing up to. We don't know what our participatory role in that is. It's still our bodies, and that control has to stay in our hands, but it can only happen that way if we have that information, if we've done that pre-work. Our bodies are phenomenal as women. They're phenomenal. They're massively complex, but they are absolutely amazing. And we are capable of so much more than we realize. And we need that realization. We deserve to actually understand our bodies. I cannot tell you the number of women I support, and their knowledge around something like their abdominal wall or their pelvic floor is so surface level. If your understanding about pelvic floor is to do your squeezes, do your Kegels, we need to chat. Like, pelvic floor is massive. That's actually the lowest level way of supporting pelvic health. There's so much more, and we deserve to know it. This is our bodies. In what world do we live where our healthcare practitioners know more about our bodies and our physiology than us? How has that happened? We are phenomenal, and we deserve to understand that and to understand our strength. So if you are serious about this journey, this birth experience for you and your baby, please know that preparation starts now. It starts today. It starts today. And if you're thinking, I do not even know where to start, Pip, I'm on board, I want to do it, I don't know where to start, please just ping me a message. We can talk about what you might need to do and whereabouts you're at on your journey. But it starts today. And if you're at the first trimester, this is a time to be like, get in. I have got this now phenomenal opportunity, this 9-month window ahead of me to make sure I'm properly equipped. Please don't think you've got loads of time. Pregnancy as 9-month window is not loads of time for the amount of knowledge you need, support you need, physical change you need. It's not a lot of time. So wherever you're at in your journey, you haven't got lots of time. You've got a phenomenal opportunity. And what you need to not be doing is in a place where you're hitting Google, searching loads of inaccurate, conflicting, generic information. You need to know that any time that you're investing in your pregnancy, your body, your baby's well-being is actually specific to you and it's meaningful, because we're busy people, right? We're really busy people. We quite frankly do not have the time to be in a Google rabbit warren. Often spending more hours searching and actually coming out more confused and still not actually doing the thing that's going to create change. This is not just about consuming information. We need to be implementing that information. If we want to create change, if we want to create that journey that's important to us, we need to do the stuff. We can't just talk about it or consume it. We need to actually do it. You have so much power that can be in your hands. I really encourage you to take that power. Pregnancy is your training period for your marathon that is birth and postpartum. We get one shot. We don't want to have regrets. You have the power to do this in the way you want. So whether you're first trimester, second trimester, or third trimester, your time is now. I hope it's been helpful to lift the lid on some of that, bust some of the myths. That's my words. Bust some of those myths, because I'm really passionate. I see the implications of this, guys. I see the implications as a midwife of people not doing the level of preparation they really need. It's almost like it's easy for us to sell birth as just learn to breathe, it'll be fine, or just relax, just listen to your body, do some squats, stay upright. That's easy. It's easy for us to tell you to do that, and you think, oh yeah, okay, I'm really prepared. And then labour happens and you realise that actually you weren't well prepared. We don't want to learn it then. We want to do this work beforehand. Like I said, if it was that easy, everyone would be popping babies out left, right and centre. Easy beans. We wouldn't have birth trauma. We wouldn't have forceps. We wouldn't have emergency cesarean sections. We wouldn't have perineal trauma or pelvic floor complications. The reality is the statistics tell us it's not that easy. We just like to kind of bury our heads sometimes and have that naivety of, well, maybe it will just be okay, because it would be lovely if it was. But something that you're doing or implementing off the back of this talk, please let me know. Or if you are thinking, I'm just doing that Google thing, burying my head, I'm a bit lost, I don't know where to start, then message me as well and let's chat this through, because you are more capable than you realise. If you have listened to this birth story, enjoyed it, and feel that you are ready to really embrace and dedicate yourself to having the most informed, supported, and empowered journey, and want to see if we may be able to support you in YPJ, your pregnancy and postnatal journey, please drop me a Instagram DM at midwife_pip, or get in touch on my email, pip@midwifepip.com, and let's chat through things and see if we might be a good match for each other. I hope you've enjoyed listening, and wishing you all the best on your journey through pregnancy, birth, and beyond.